Hi guys and girls. So I thought I'd do a few videos whilst in isolation, just to give people a few things to practice at home, or just a few things to watch to sort of give you a little bit better knowledge on your own golf swing. Maybe there's a few things in there that you feel like you need to work on. So take a look and enjoy. Understanding a draw. So first thing we need to understand about a draw is that the plane of the swing, the path of the swing, needs to be moving ever so slightly towards the right of target. Okay, so I've got this white line down here. So if you can imagine, my plane and path have to be swinging slightly to the right of target to create a draw. I'm classing a draw that starts right and comes back onto the target line. So it's that swinging out to the right hand side will help produce spin to the left, where you can start the ball out to the right and get it to come back to target. So for footballers out there, that's a feeling of coming from inside to out of the ball. If you're, say for example, if you've got a free kick trying to bend it round a wall from right to left, I'm talking for a right-handed golfer. Also for tennis players, that's also a bit more the feeling of kind of top spin almost, where you can see there the action would be more towards in to out. But I see a lot of golfers trying to get this, and I think most are trying to get it more towards more for the reason of trying to stop it leaking out to the right. But the difficulty is you then all of a sudden start swinging out to the right. So something that's very important is club face. So you need to make sure that if you are swinging out to the right, that you are going to get that club face pointing back towards the target. Okay, so now the actual perfect of it would be that, let's say for example, the club is swinging 5 degrees out to the right hand side. The club face needs to be somewhere between 2.5 and 3 degrees to the right of target. So again, club face actually needs to be slightly open to the target but closed to the path. So it needs to be somewhere in between the two. If you have a club face that's too closed, it's going to start left, so it's going to start left of the target, but because of the swing path, you're going to be swinging right, so then that's going to put more spin to the left. So effectively, you'll then end up getting a ball that will start left of the target line and spin left of the target line. I think if you're trying to stop a slice, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world to see. But if you're trying to just practice a draw and you hit the ball pretty straight, that's obviously not ideal. So understand that the club face has to be open to the target line, but closed to the path. So if I exaggerate that, so that's me swinging miles out to the right. Club face will have to be somewhere in between that path and the target line. That's my path swinging miles out to the right. Club face has got to be somewhere in between path and target line to be able to hit my target, okay, and to get the ball starting right and coming back to target. Remember, that is what a draw is. Starts right of target and then comes back to target. Curvature, let's say you want to be going for something around sort of 10 yards of curvature, around that kind of area. Again, you can be a little bit more, and there are players that do a lot more, there's players that do a lot less. But I would say something around that is pretty perfect. But understand that your path has to change and the face has to correspond with that path. So something that you can check on, something you can do to work on this is just hit little shots. So I would say start off with small, easy shots, getting the feeling you are able to swing out to the right and you're trying to feel what that club face is going to do. Now, one drawback of a draw is that the club face has got to do a bit of rotating. Okay, it's going to need to do a bit of rotating unless you've already got the club preset. So it's going to have a bit more excessive rotation, I would say, than a than a fade, for example, or a straight shot, because the club face has to be pointing inside of the path. So that means that the club face has got to have a bit more rotation than what a perfect dead straight swing would be, where it just moves around the arc, and the club face then returns at impact on the plane, on the path. Club face closes. Now, when it comes to that, there's a couple of ways that you can get a feeling for it. Again, if you're just doing short shots, get the impression that as you're coming back through impact, so I'm going to swing out to the right, and I'm going to get the impression through impact that my toe is the first thing into the ball. Okay, so just a little short shot there. So I feel as though I'm swinging out to the right, that ball has started right of target, and it's come back to the left, or come back to the target. Now, the thing to understand with that is, I'm not advocating here that you start getting the wrists rolling over. Definitely not. But I want you to understand that if you do look for this draw that I see so many golfers looking for, and again, I think it's a great shot. I've hit a draw for a long time. I tried to stop hitting draw, believe it or not. But the club face has got to have a bit more rotation to it. So you've got to understand that that is a drawback of that shape of shot. Something to note with the draw, when we are looking for the path to be more out to the right hand side, something to really understand is that I'm not looking for tons. You do not need to be swinging. I see a lot of people, when they're working on this, I see a lot of people doing this and feeling the club. And some people it does work. But I see a lot of people trying to get that club face way down here, in case the shaft is then super duper flat, and trying to swing out to the right. I think from there, you've got to have one, an outrageous amount of club face rotation to get it to work. But two, you're probably going to hit a lot of heel shots or a lot of shanks, because the club is just getting so flat. The plane is getting so flat. If you go back to the plane video that I did, you aren't looking to get the shaft too much off of this angle, are you? So really, there's this huge drop. All of a sudden, that becomes like that. You're just not going to get to the ground. Or if you do get to the ground, you're going to have to kind of push it down, right? So that effectively you're almost coming down and then having to come a bit over the top to actually get back to the ball. So be careful of people that do this. If you're doing this, be careful, because sometimes you can go halfway down, or probably not even halfway down. You get about a third of the way down, and then all of a sudden you have to get that club over, because you just feel like you're going to hit it miles right. That's the psychological barrier of it. But I see a lot of this happening, and you just don't need that. That club needs to be 5 degrees. Think about how big 5 degrees is. So 5 degrees out to the right hand side, that path, and then with a club face that's slightly a bit more active, that ball flight will start curving back, and that will definitely change any kind of movement out to the right or leaking flight out to the right hand side. As long as you get that feeling, as long as you can kind of really get that preciseness to it, then it becomes much easier to control the flight. Hopefully there's something in there that you can practice at home, or at least it's just reinforcing what you already know, or hopefully you are, when you come out of isolation, able to get working on it at the range. So thanks for watching, and look after yourselves.